My name is David Turner, and I never thought I'd be the kind of man to doubt his marriage. For most of our 10 years together, my wife Emily and I were inseparable. We shared everything: morning coffee, grocery runs, evening walks, inside jokes that made us laugh until our stomachs hurt. But somewhere along the way, life got louder, and we got quieter. Emily had started spending more time alone, lost in thought or behind a book, while I buried myself in work, convincing myself it was, for us. The distance crept in quietly. No arguments, no harsh words, just a soft silence that lingered between us. One night, as we sat at the dinner table eating in near silence, I finally said, "Em, are we okay?" She looked up, her fork halfway to her mouth, and sighed. "I don't know, David. I just need some space to think." The words hit harder than I expected. Space. What did that even mean? I wanted to ask if I had done something wrong, but I could see she was emotionally drained. So I nodded, forcing a calm I didn't feel. "Okay, if space is what you need, I'll give it to you." For the first few days, it was torture. I moved into the guest room. We barely spoke unless it was about practical things: bills, the mail, the dog. I kept replaying every moment that could have gone wrong: the missed anniversaries, the late nights at work, the times I chose my laptop over her. But the strangest thing happened when I stopped chasing answers. I started listening, not to her, but to myself. I realized I'd been trying to fix everything for Emily without really being with her. She hadn't needed a perfect husband. She just needed a present one. A week later, I decided to take some time off work. I didn't tell her. I started waking up early to make her favorite tea, left simple notes on the counter like, "Hope your day's gentle." I didn't expect anything in return. I just wanted her to feel safe again. One rainy afternoon, I found her sitting on the porch swing, staring at the gray sky. I hesitated, unsure if my presence would be welcome. Then she looked up, and for the first time in weeks, she smiled softly. "You're home early," she said. "Yeah," I replied, sitting beside her. "Work can wait." "You can't." She looked at me for a long time, searching my face like she was seeing me anew. "David, when I said I needed space, I wasn't trying to push you away. I was trying to find myself again." "I know," I said quietly. "And I realized I needed to find myself too." She nodded slowly, tears pooling in her eyes. "I didn't think you'd understand. I thought giving me space meant losing you." "Maybe," I said, "sometimes giving space is the only way to find our way back." Over the next few weeks, something shifted. Emily started opening up, not in grand gestures, but in little ways. She'd sit next to me during breakfast again. She started humming while cooking, something I hadn't heard in months. We began walking in the evenings like we used to, talking about random things: the neighbors, the weather, our dog Max's obsession with socks. It wasn't a sudden miracle. Some nights, she still seemed distant. Some mornings, I still felt unsure. But we kept showing up. That became our quiet promise. Then one evening, out of nowhere, Emily handed me a letter. "Read it when you're ready," she said, and went to bed. I sat on the couch, heart pounding, and unfolded the paper. Her handwriting was neat but shaky. "David, when I asked for space, I wasn't sure what I wanted. I just knew I was lost. Somewhere between being your wife, a mother, and holding it all together, I forgot who I was. You didn't do anything wrong. I just stopped recognizing myself. But when you didn't fight me, when you didn't guilt me, when you quietly gave me room, I found something I'd been missing: peace. I realized that love isn't about holding tighter when things slip, it's about trusting enough to let go for a while. And when I saw how patient you were, how gentle you became again, I remembered why I fell in love with you in the first place." I sat there for a long time, the paper trembling in my hands. I walked into the bedroom and saw her asleep, her face peaceful. I wanted to wake her and tell her that I understood, but instead, I just lay beside her and whispered, "I'm not going anywhere." Months passed, and our relationship slowly rebuilt itself. We went to couples therapy, not because we were breaking apart, but because we wanted to understand each other better. We learned new things about each other: that she'd always wanted to take painting lessons, that I secretly loved gardening but never said it out loud. We began creating new routines: Sunday morning breakfasts in bed, late night drives with no destination, quiet evenings spent reading in the same room. The silence that once felt heavy now felt comfortable. One evening, as we were cleaning up after dinner, Emily turned to me and said, "I'm glad you didn't give up on me." I smiled. "You didn't give up on us either." She nodded, then added something that stayed with me: "Sometimes love isn't about holding hands every day. It's about knowing that even when we let go, we'll still find each other again." That night, I realized something simple yet profound: giving space wasn't the end of love, it was an act of love itself. Today, when people ask how we survived that rough patch, I tell them the truth: love isn't about constant closeness. It's about respect, patience, and allowing each other to breathe. Emily and I still have our moments of silence, but they're no longer filled with fear or distance. They're filled with understanding, the kind that only comes from walking through a storm together and realizing you both chose to stay. So yes, giving my wife space was hard. It scared me, but her reaction, her willingness to come back stronger, to rediscover herself and us, reminded me that real love doesn't fade when tested. It deepens. Because sometimes, when you step back, you make room for both hearts to grow, separately, and then together again. And that's exactly what we did.